Welcome back to Catonsville. We are at State Fair in the 21228. We're on Frederick Road. We're doing all this today with our friends at the Maryland Lottery. I'm giving out 10 times the cash tickets. Bill Cole's here. Kirby Fowler's here from the Maryland Zoo. We're going to be having them on a little later on. I had a reunion of my Eastwood Orioles of 1978 Little League team. John Rollo came by, and then Mark Karolkowski walked in. Pretended that he wasn't listening to the show, but he was listening to the show. I'm going to fix all my microphones here, make sure everybody's good. Folks have reached to me all week. So part of this whole Cup of Super Bowl deal is I wanted to have 100 different charities, 100 different community stories. I'm in the 60s right now, although we added one when Mark Karolkowski showed up. And folks have reached back to me, and I've missed some emails along the way. It's some latecomers. PJ Shafer reached out, hey, dude, we want to come on Thursday. Can you fit us in? And I'm like, sure, I can fit you in. So we make room for everybody. I was unfamiliar with Itineris, but I am familiar with PJ Shafer, who is a Facebook sort of friend, and Donald Kropfelder, who's also somebody I don't know how you guys know of me, but you know of each other, and you're in this together, and you're doing things for autism, so I certainly want to promote it. Donald, welcome to you, as well as you, PJ. PJ, start the party, man. You set this thing up. You said, I got a story to tell you, Ness. Let's go.
Well, I got lots of stories to tell you, but first of all, I've been a listener for, God, since you've been on the radio.
You're the one.
From day one, right? I'm the one from day one. And I heard you were doing this. And
Day one, what's day one for you? I know what day one was for me. What's day one for you?
25 years ago.
32 years ago.
Right, okay.
Well, I
32 years ago.
If you were listening that summer, I broadcasted from the shed out on Timonium Road.
I've been to the shed out on Timonium Road.
WITH, back at 5 Light Street. I mean, it's been a minute.
It has been a minute. So I've been listening for you for since you've been WNST.
Well, thank you. That's 25.
And huge fan. Heard you were doing the thing for charities, and wanted to reach out because I support a lot of Baltimore local charities, but the one that's nearest to my heart is called Itineris. I am currently their board chairman, and what Itineris does is it provides services to adults on the autism spectrum. So we do sort of a spectrum of things for adults on the spectrum. We go
Only adults?
Only adults.
Okay, I got
21
you. Okay.
and up. There's some 18 and up. But basically, Itineris' story is it was started by 9 families, all who had adults on the autism spectrum or young adults who were about to be adults. And Local, local.
Right.
TV Hill, headquartered on TV Hill, 2050 Rockrose Avenue, right next to all the TV stations.
How many years ago was this?
2006 is it was started.
So we're 18 into this. All right.
Yep.
Same year I did Free the Bird, so it's commemorative.
Exactly. So these 9 families had kids who were getting ready to get out of high school, and the autism community you get services as a kid because the school system's required by law to provide services till you're either 18 if you're graduating from high school or 21 if you are allowed to remain in high school if you don't actually graduate. But at 21, you sort of fall off that cliff. There are no more guaranteed services. So these families got together and like, well, what are we going to do? So we created Itineris, which is an organization
out of a need
because there really weren't services there for adults, and it provides training, job skills, vocational and pre-vocational training. So one of the things that they do is help adults on the spectrum with language, with social skills, with any of the skills that you would need to be able to hold a job. It has a day It was started first and foremost as a day program where adults come in and they work on those skills. And part of the program is a lot of the adults on the spectrum have arts and creative things. So we have the Drew Putzel Creative Arts Program, and some of the adults make business, make greetings cards, and they sell them as part of their micro businesses. So in any way that Itineris can support adults to be creative, live their best life, and again, try to have that journey where they can go ahead and do whatever they can, be functioning in the community, in the job workforce. So some of what, again, Itineris is doing is just getting people familiar with being out in the community, whether it's learning to transact money at the grocery store, whether it's just going to the post office or going to a restaurant like this and be able to order off of a menu. So it's building those skills to allow adults to have their, live their best life.
Donald Kropfelder is also here, Senior Development Director. Come a little bit toward me so I get you in the camera here.
Absolutely.
I want to make sure you're on the set. Back up a half a step, move over. Here we go. How are you? I know your name. I know you from my Facebook and like that. It's Baltimore, man.
We've connected in some way, shape, or form.
I feel like I've seen you before, too.
I see you have the Be More Than Pink credentials there from
they
Kim
told me
Schmolowitz.
that you worked at Komen, so that's probably where I know you from back in the day. They felt bad, Bill. They felt bad that I didn't have a press pass, and they made one for me. Isn't that nice? Susan G. Komen people.
Kudos to Kim.
I said it was more like Three Stooges. Just say pull, press, pull. Yeah. So Bill Cole's gonna be here. But thank you. And how long have you been with Itineris?
I'm probably the newest staff member. I'm a little over a month.
How long were you, Susan G. Komen?
I was there 5 years.
Okay.
I was hired as their giving director. Before that, I ran the David Kropfelder Melanoma Foundation, which is near and dear to my heart. That's a local Catonsville gentleman from Mount St. Joe.
I'm trying to get to 100 charities this week. If each of you do 2 every day,
that
I'll
means
get to 100.
We covered it.
So talk to me about that, because I want to sneak another charity in here.
Well, unfortunately, I had to let go of that when I joined Komen. It was a sort of a conflict of interest. It still lives in our hearts, but it was the David Kropfelder Melanoma for Education and Research.
You lost a loved one.
A mouthful, and yes, we did.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Melanoma, it's more serious than people think it is.
Correct.
I always know, you hear it, you think, oh, a little skink. No.
Just had my little run in again.
You doing okay?
See the dermatologist, absolutely.
Doing all right?
Wear the SPF 50. 50's good.
Well,
That's a good number.
Okay, so you've done skin cancer, you've done women's breast cancer. Now you're in an autism space. We all change careers. I used to be a sports reporter. They used to let me do this from the Super Bowl. It was a big gig for 30. I faked it. It wasn't real radio, right? So we change careers and things change. I mean, I'm here talking about charities today because it's what's in my heart to do.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And with the food banks, I love learning about this stuff because, I mean, honest to God, sometimes I wonder whether if I were tested, if I have some spectrum thing going on with me, just in a very, very general sense. I'm a pretty directed cat, PJ, you know what I'm saying? And I think there's what I've learned as I've gotten older. I have a friend who was adult diagnosed, and I'm telling you, she was in her 40s and diagnosed with a form of autism. And it sort of is everywhere in our society during the course of my lifetime. It's grown and grown and grown. And the more it's grown, the further away we've gotten from Rain Man, and that's is autism. That's a form, but like what I've learned about this is that there are lots of functioning people with just something is a little different for them, or they see things a little differently or perceive things a little bit differently. And I don't want to throw it all into a basket. I don't know if I'm on the spectrum, but from adult testing and from what we used to identify as that's a little screwed up to no, that's a form of autism, right?
Yeah,
Literally.
so back in the day, it used to be 1 in 10,000. Like when my son was first diagnosed 18 years ago.
What was his diagnosis then, and what is it now? Is it the same, or is
our first diagnosis was really what we call a non-diagnosis, where the developmental pediatrician said he may or may not have some characteristics that put him on the autism spectrum. And my wife and I looked at her and like, what do we do with that? And that sort of led us down a journey. And you say you want to talk about charities. Like my wife and I dove into the autism community feet first.
Well, PJ Seroff is famously involved. You
Sure,
know, I mean, as a person who's done it for all of his lifetime.
And so he started Pathfinders for Autism. My wife sits on their board as well. The great organization, Pathfinders, they are providing services like sort of referral services. If you need a dentist that's friendly to the autism community, or if you just don't know where to go.
I have a friend whose kid has autism, and they play hockey.
Yep.
Big hockey program for
Baltimore
autism.
Saints is a huge, great
organization.
Absolutely.
I've been here a while. I'm trying. I don't know everything, but I'm
you're
trying to
not
learn
faking
where people
everything.
are,
You're not faking it all. Yeah.
And quite honestly, I've been involved, I think, with all the Baltimore-based autism groups. I previously been on the board of Autism Speaks for the Baltimore, D.C. metro area. Spent a lot of years going to the support group that's run by the Baltimore chapter of the Autism Society. They're doing good work. If you have a newly diagnosed person and you're looking for resources, Autism Speaks or the Baltimore chapter of the Autism Society has support groups at Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital. Again, I think now they've gone online, but again, there are a lot of great organizations providing a lot of support. Unfortunately, there's a lot of need because, again, like I said, when it used to be 1 in 10,000, I think the most recent number that the state's putting out is 1 in 36 people is some way, shape, or form diagnosed on the autism spectrum these days. And again, it is a spectrum. So, like you say, we all grew up watching Rain Man, and it was a very
it's not like that,
right, debilitating disease. And look, in the other end of the spectrum, we call them engineers. It's people who don't necessarily have great social skills.
I like to think if I do, it's caught up in brilliance in some way. We all like to think.
And again, there are people with autism have some great abilities, and generally they have weaknesses in language and they have weaknesses in social skills. But that doesn't mean that they don't have intelligence. It doesn't mean they don't have the ability to function. It doesn't mean they don't have the ability to have relationships and have emotional and feelings. Again, I've watched my son grow up for the last.
How's your boy?
He's doing really well.
How old is he?
He's 21 now.
All right, so we're there.
So we're there. And while he is not an Itineris client, my wife and I are sort of doing the things that Itineris would do sort of on our own. And that's a whole nother story because my wife and I started a school called the Shafer Center, which provides services to kids on the spectrum. But because we have that ability to provide resources for our own son, again, we
changed your life, right?
Absolutely. Well, changed my life.
It redirected your life in the way my wife's cancer. It's sort of like, all right, I'm not going to fight with this crazy owner.
In
I
so
want to
many
do
ways.
Good things. There's something else I want to do, and there was a calling for you didn't even know you had, right?
Well, look, I switched careers. I was practicing law. I was at a local law firm, and when my son got diagnosed, my wife was running her family medical practice business, and I went and switched from practicing law every day here in Baltimore to joining my mother's financial planning business, which allowed me to have the flexibility to run my son to Kennedy Krieger and speech therapy and all the different therapies he was getting at the time.
Leonard Raskin. There's a rumor.
There is a rumor.
Well, let me tell you about Leonard right now, because we're here. And I had a steak and eggs for breakfast. Leonard's slumming, man. He's out in Walleya right now. 30th anniversary. I mean, he's looking at sea turtles. He's probably putting on SPF 50, sunning himself, I just keep thinking he's drinking Mai Tais and eating poi. Well, is what I think he's doing right now. But he did leave behind the Raskin Global crab mallet, which I still. By the way, that opens the beer, right? And that cracks the crab.
That's brilliant.
Right?
That's brilliant.
That's a twofer right there.
That is brilliant.
And you've been knowing him for 35 years. Right?
I've known him. He would say I've known you since you were this big, because he started in the industry at Maryland Financial Group, sharing an office with my mother. So he goes back. Again, it was 1998. Excuse me, it was 1988 that he started at Maryland Financial Group with my mom. And so when my son was diagnosed on the spectrum, I joined my mother's financial planning group. Leonard and my mom had gone separate ways and each started their own businesses. But yeah, if he's listening, he probably just fell off his beach chair.
Well, if I take a picture and send it to him right now.
If
he's just getting to the beach right now. It's like 8:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, because with the time change.
Well, I try to send him to this little place that I like that has really good sandwiches. So I hope he's there this morning. I kept saying, go over there and get a little of that. And fill your cooler up with some Maui bread. Do it right. So I hope he's doing well.
I hope he's doing well too. And again, he probably fell off his beach chair if he heard the name Linda Shafer, because he probably hasn't thought of that name in 25 years.
Well, I'll throw him a note.
Please
later in the day.
Please do.
Let him wake up first.
We'll let him wake up.
You wear your Orioles stuff here, man. You guys are both Baltimore guys. That's the beauty here. How long have you all known each other?
So
2 weeks,
a couple weeks, yeah.
Oh, really? So I've known both of you longer than you've known each other.
Exactly. We're just sort of getting to know each other.
We are connecting, though.
Yes,
we're finding the common thread. Grape juice.
Yes. Donald's a new ad to Itineris and a great ad. and we're happy to have him on board.
You got stuff you're promoting here. What are you doing? You didn't get,
so a couple things.
Now, when I do real Radio Row, you'd be handled by some really unpleasant person that would throw these papers at me, and they'd be all over here, and I'd have to read from the paper. So here, let me
our big.
Hold on, let me read it.
Okay, go ahead, read it. That's our big
you can hold that
fundraiser. Okay.
I'm cordially invited. Hot night for autism, it says here. Itineris and beyond, leading the journey for the autism community. Exciting entertainment, I guess I'm there. Interactive activities, photo booth, brief program, delicious food from Rouge 5K. Now, I've had their food, it's delicious. June 22nd, 7 to 11. Orders will be first place by then, right?
Oh, sure hope so.
It's going to be at 2050 Rock Rose Avenue. Tickets are $200 each. You can find out more at itineris.schoolauction.net. Hot night. What are we going to do on the hot night besides eat well and drink well?
Well, we're going to raise a lot of money for autism and Itineris. That's our big fundraising event of the year. The Hot Night for Autism, again, June 22nd. We're always looking for partners. We're always looking for businesses as sponsors. But ideally, again, one of the great things, because Itineris is providing vocational services for adults on the spectrum, so we're always looking for businesses not just to open up their wallet, but we're looking for them to open up their doors, because we have adults who are looking for jobs. And so if we need employer partners, people who are looking for somebody who will come in and work for them and maybe willing to have a person with a disability who has a job coach who will help them do the job. And so we're looking for Baltimore businesses who are, again, looking for people, good people, and we will help place those people into their jobs. So if a company doesn't want to just open up their wallet and say, all right, we're going to give us a call nonetheless, because we're looking for business partners that we can place our clients into their business to work for.
What kind of jobs are we talking about?
It is
bussing tables here at State Fair.
That's possible. I was just going to give a shout out to Michelle's Granola, just in the short time frame.
Tasty.
Absolutely. I don't think
Local.
they're serving granola here, so I didn't want to, overstep State Fair. But yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example. It can be someone, as small as Michelle's Granola. I've seen Becton Dickinson. I've heard W.R. Grace just in the short time frame.
These are local businesses that are stepping up, huh?
Absolutely. There's a myriad of things that are available.
Give me a success story, PJ, on this, on a job placement.
Well,
you got somebody out there working right now somewhere.
We've got lots of people out there working, and you asked what types of things. It really is a variety. So we have one adult on the spectrum who likes to fold, so they're folding towels at a local gym.
They come to my house.
Right?
I'm a terrible folder.
So we have we have retail partners who need things restocked or hung on hangers. We have clients doing that. We have clients who have a business replacing vending machine items, filling vending machines. So there are all sorts of if you have a job, we can probably find a client for you. And the whole point of what Itineris is doing is really they're getting finding the clients with the job that fits them best, because you don't want just you don't want to say, hey, everybody who's got a disability is going to be cleaning the floors, or you got to find the right job for the right person.
What's your boy like? Where would he fall in this?
So my boy, honestly, he loves three things. He loves movies. If there was a way to do movie trivia and be the host for movie trivia, he'd love to do that. He also loves building Legos. If there was a job where you could build the Lego sets, like maybe Lego
so if
store.
There's a job that's like building Legos.
If there's right, because he likes following instructions. The other thing he loves to do is to bake. So again, it's sort of like the same thing. The Lego set is building up the pieces and coming up with the end product. Baking, you put the ingredients together, you end up with a cookie. So it's following instructions to come up with something that either is fun to eat, fun to play with.
Understanding autism is what I'm trying
exactly.
to
If you have a set of simple instructions.
And nobody understands autism, right? In the real world, it's what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
Take idiots like me and say, no, it's not like that. It's not like Rain Man. It's like this.
Yep.
At least it's like this for my boy.
And
right?
and again, one of the great people in the autism community always says, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism, because they're all different. And quite honestly, it is a spectrum. I mean, it is a spectrum disorder. So some people have language issues. Some people have social issues. Some people have more sensory issues. So
I met a young man who's your son's age now, out in Phoenix, and was through an NFL contact that clearly, I'm not keeping that relationship as much anymore. But this person had, I met him at an owners meeting, and it was out in Arizona. It was a young man. He's probably 12 or 13 years old, and he met me, and we met for 10 minutes, and I was nice to him. You know what I mean? At a party with billionaire football owners and whatever. No, like I met him, and I talked to him, and he talked back, and I talked, and we talked a little bit. And we said goodbye, and a year later, his father came to me, and he said, I got to talk to him. He said, listen, it's not weird. My son's autistic. He's really obsessed with you. Like, he knows everything about you. He went home, and he learned everything about you. So when you meet him this year, and he got I think he'd hit puberty then. So, he went from, 12, 13 to 14, 15. And this is got to be 8 years ago, 9 years ago now, 7, 8 years ago. So he must be in his early, a little older than your boy. And the next year I saw him, and we talked, and I've seen him 3 or 4 times in my life, and every time I see him, he knows everything about me. He knows my birthday. He knows my son's name. He knows my wife's name. He knows he recites my history to me, and I'm like, that's incredible.
Yep.
I mean, it moves me to tears because I'm like, oh my, it's such a blessing that whatever I did that sparked
Connect
him.
it.
But his father was like, no, you don't understand. It's not like this with any, I don't know why you, but you. And I'm like, I got you. Bring him over here. Let's hang out. I'll hang out with him for
That's
a while.
cool.
So I don't know where he is. And this is 2 cries today. It's 2 halves makes a 1. I'm at 1.5. But so I've had this connection with this young man with autism 3,000 miles away that every time his father would reach to me, he's like, Will's talking about you. Can you talk to him tonight?
That's awesome.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
right.
Literally.
Yep.
Well,
I
thank
didn't
you.
think about that till you're sitting. It took me 18 minutes in here to think I have a moment in that way, and I didn't understand it. I don't need to understand. It's sort of like a weird little miracle. It's in a way, right?
So it's absolutely
it's a weird
thank
miracle.
you. Well, good for you for making that connection, because
I thought so.
Not everybody sort of has that. Connection or
you
that
guys
personality.
Are fans of mine, but this kid was crazy.
Well, and again, look, my son is in some of the same ways. Like anybody he meets, he figures out what their birthday is. He remembers it, and we go through every day. And today's so and so's birthday.
No, this wasn't a birthday. This was listening to the show every day and knowing. what I said.
and absolutely. But again. People on the autism spectrum, for whatever reason, again, they will a lot of times do that, dive into a topic or a person and really just, again, get to know that very well. And again, you go back to Rain Man and the counting cards and the numbers, and some of that stuff is true because, again, while for whatever reason their brains are wired differently, where we can have the emotional connection, they sort of more focus on names, numbers, memorization. I mean,
I'm going to have Fred Grau's boy Danny here tomorrow. Danny's must be autistic. I mean, Danny's doing Special Olympics, and Danny's very functioning, and he's going to be here on the show tomorrow with us. So, and Danny loves me too, but he gives me a hard time. That's his gig is give me a hard time.
Okay.
He's
okay.
a Raven guy, I mean, we're old school. He's an OG. He's one of my guys. You know what I mean? So, but Danny rides horses for Special Olympics, so he's going to be joining us tomorrow up at Pappas. So when I think of, I will ask if I'm 92% sure that he's on the spectrum in that way, and that's because he's perfectly functioning. He's not. But a little different on the spectrum.
And again, not everybody is perfectly functioning. I don't think my son could hold a job, but he still lives a meaningful life.
Sure.
Does he
like the Ravens?
He you know what he does. He roots for the Ravens. He doesn't watch them so much.
Right, okay.
But if I'm watching the Ravens game, he'll walk in and he'll look at who are they playing, and then he'll say go Ravens, and again he's
prefer a movie.
He'd absolutely prefer a movie, but yeah, absolutely. He knows that the Chiefs are playing. He knows that they're playing the San Francisco. He knew enough to say, hey, listen, we're disappointed the Ravens aren't there. That's why I'm here with you today and not tomorrow at Pappas, is because I was supposed to be driving up to Philadelphia to pick my daughter up and hop on a flight out to Vegas
Well, that's
tomorrow.
not happening. By the way, let me fix this for you because I've been checking the weather out.
Yep.
We don't want to be there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, we're good here.
Yep.
You know, we'll do that another time. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when New York's too cold. We'll just go to New York a different time. Vegas, right? It's 47 degrees here today.
Okay.
Going to 40. It was 38 degrees here this morning.
Right.
You know. 52 on game day. There's nothing in Vegas for you. Don't worry about it. We'll do that again.
Nothing.
Well, I'm sorry about that. Tell folks how they can find you and get involved. And I'm really appreciative that you hit me 2 days ago and made yourself come over here because you made me cry, which is important. So
my pleasure. The best way to get to Itineris is itineris.org, our website.
Perfect.
So
local, right? Here.
TV Hill. Yep.
And how about a shameless plug? The zoo's right over here.
Maryland Zoo. Yeah, it's
We
Kirby
are
right there.
partnering with the zoo on April 6th. You can find all this information on
Does
our
Kirby know this?
I don't know if Kirby.
Then make it promote.
I am so new, but I would like to say thank you to Kirby.
Kirby, you're doing something for autism on the 6th of April. Yeah,
How about that?
Yeah,
I love to see the folks out here making.
He knows what's going on.
So thank you all. I appreciate it.
Listen,
these are
man.
great partnerships that we're working on. This is part of what I do.
There is not a marsupial or an animal over there eating a grain of anything that Kirby doesn't know about, right?
Well, now I know. Now I know.
That's great. Well, Nestor, thank you for having us.
Thank
you
you
for
for being here.
promoting Itineris Baltimore.
All right, I want to meet your boy at some point. Man.
We'd love to set that up, and we're trying to help adults on the autism in the Baltimore community.
If he likes me, tell him don't. You know,
Okay.
I'm not worth all that.
Well, if you like cookies, and you tell him you like his cookies, then you'll have a friend for life.
I love cookies, man.
Okay, we'll
You know what I thought about this morning? This morning I woke up. I woke 3 in the morning. My back's killing me, and I'm doing all this charity stuff and doing this marathon thing. And I had one cookie, and I'm free plug for the Woodley Bakery because I love their chocolate chip cookies because they taste just like my next door neighbor made them. It's just my cookie. And I brought it home, and I had 6 of them in the bag. I'm on my last cookie today. So I got to get some more, get a different dessert for the weekend. I make my coffee. I cleaned everything up for my wife before she got up. I had the whole... And I brought the cookie out, and I put it down, and I took one bite of it, and it crumbled all over the place. And I thought, well, isn't that a metaphor for life? I love cookies, but they crumble.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So I'm just thinking, even the best things in life make a mess, and sometimes you have to clean. So I had to clean up the mess after cooking. I thought, oh, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
So I thought, so I'll have cookies with your boy. What's your boy's
Sounds
name?
good. Hayden.
Hayden. All right. Well, that'd be easy to remember.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for
Shafer,
promoting.
Donald
Thank you.
Kropfelder joining us here. They did not give me the Susan G. Komen press pass, but they did give me cards. Itineris, Baltimore.org. I am Nestor. We are here at State Fair. We're collecting canned goods for the Maryland Food Bank. Carmen Del Guecho made me cry twice before 9 a.m. We're going to be here until 5 today. We're going to be at Pappas and Cockeysville on Friday. Lots and lots of great guests there. Bill Cole's coming up soon. We're going to talk Maryland Zoo. Got a lot of important stuff going on around here. We're going to talk about El Guapo and Beaumont and our friends over here at State Fair. All of it brought to you by our friends at Maryland. I didn't Oprah you guys. You get a ticket. You get it. You guys didn't even get your lottery tickets. We're doing this 10 times the cash from the Maryland Lottery. Our friends at Window Nation, 866-90 Nation. I'm getting my doors this year. I have my fun floppy hat on. I'm going to do that. And Jiffy Lube Multi-Care. I had breakfast here. I'm going to have lunch here, but I'm going to have dinner at home. And I'm going to have lunch and dinner tomorrow at Pappas in Cockeysville. Bring me canned goods. You get a free cup of soup or bowl. I know, it's clever. Stay with us.